the Kahr K40 and 40 Smith & Wesson. Let's check it out. The Kahr Firearm Company is a high-quality firearm manufacturer in Worcester, Massachusetts. Been making firearms here in the United States since 1995. In fact, the very first model that Kahr produced was the K9. Very similar to this, in fact, pretty much a direct replica, except this is the K40. From there, they have produced a lot of different models that are very popular, especially with concealed carry. This is an all stainless steel, both frame and slide. Of course, now they do make a lot of their pistols with polymer frames. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and drop the magazine and make sure the gun is unloaded, and it is. Here you see two magazines. This is your standard 6-round magazine, and of course +1, and they do make an extended magazine for a 7+1. The magazines are stainless steel. They're very smooth finish, and then with a little polymer base pad. The K-Series, though, is a single stack magazine, so it's fairly thin, even though with the wood grips it does add a little bit. Typically the K-Series has a black polymer wraparound grip. This is a Hoe grip, this aftermarket. I've actually picked this up at a local gun show this past weekend, and it's just such a beautiful firearm. I really like Kahr. I don't have a lot of Kahrs. I've shot quite a few, and they're just really nice quality firearms. With this model in particular, this is the Elite 98, which this is an upgrade from the standard K40 or K9. Now this particular model, though, is the Elite 98. So there's just some upgrades to this pistol over your standard K40, but not a whole lot of difference really with as far as function. One of the big things that it has is polished stainless steel slides and the flats, even on the frame, and then with matte finish accented. I think it's a really beautiful quality looking firearm, very similar to a SIG or a Walther, just with the really fine finish. The contrast between the two is really evident when you see it, and then it has, of course, the laser engraving here with the Elite 98, and then here on the other side, K40 and then Kahr. They're actually planning to move the facility to Pennsylvania. It started out in New York State, and there were a lot of issues. Of course, it's not very gun friendly, and so they moved to Mass, and now they're actually moving to Pennsylvania, which is more of a gun friendly state, especially if you're manufacturing firearms. But the K98 has a really nice polished feed ramp, and you can see, and we're going to look at it a little bit better, but it is a really high, finely polished feed ramp. The magazine well has been beveled, and then of course the polished here. They do offer this in night sights or in standard 3-dot sights. This one does have the night sights and just a green glow with a white outline. Shows up really well. One of the cool features, though, about Kahr is that it is a double action only pistol, and yet it has a striker for its firing pin. And so you get that extra safety of the double action, and yet you have the striker fire, which is very reliable, and it is a true hammerless pistol. The magazine goes in easily, and then right here is a checkered magazine release, drops free. And of course those stainless mags are going to allow for that to really be nice. The controls are not ambidextrous friendly. Of course you have the magazine release here on the other side, cut very similar to the 1911. This is not reversible, and then of course your slide stops right here. But because it is a double action only, there's no external safeties. And so beside the fact that the mag release is here, that's the only thing that differentiates that, and the slide stop. for a left-handed friendly pistol. The fit and finish on this is excellent. I mean, everything fits very well, very tight, but yet it's very smooth. The stainless that they use is a 416 stainless, and of course it is CNC milled. All the details on the pistol, the cocking serrations, very easy to grab and aggressive enough where it's not going to slip. Small little beaver tail area right here at the grip. It's going to get your hand up higher, and yet you don't have to be concerned about slide bite. The weight is 27.8 ounces, so it's a fairly heavy, and that's with the mag. It's 6.1 inches in length. It's about 4 3/4 inches in height. The slide is about 9.4 inches, and then with the grip it does expand out a little bit to just over an inch. But the feel of the pistol is very well in the hand. I mean, it really feels the hand, and then even with the magazine, you get a little bit of a lip here. Now my hands are medium sized. If you have larger hands, it may make a difference. But with the size of the grip, it does feel the hand, and it makes shooting really a pleasure, especially in .40 caliber. And of course, with the stainless steel frame, that also helps to tame the recoil. To give you a little bit of a size comparison, here is a Glock 23 40 Smith & Wesson, and of course the Kahr. You are getting a little bit of length, a little bit larger pistol. In fact, the slide is actually a little thinner with the Kahr, but you got 13 rounds here, whereas you have 6 rounds for standard, and then with the extended 7 rounds. You know, it just has everything to do with what you like. And you know, a lot of guys, they will not carry Glock, they just don't like Glock. The Kahr's a great option. Even if you like Glock, Kahr's a great option. I'm a big Glock fan, but yet the quality of this pistol, I just really love the way the lines are. I love the way it shoots. I love the way it feels. "10 yards, pretty good groups." It's really funny how one in each group tend to go down. But the recoil is not that snappy. I mean, I guess it's the heft of the pistol, but the accuracy is really good, and I'm very pleased with it. Just need to work on this one shot. We were using HPR 180 grain jacketed hollow points, which are pretty hot, and these are easy to see targets. These Hogue grips are just absolutely beautiful. To me, it really sets this pistol off. Typically, they don't come with the K series. It comes with the T series. But here we have the grip. It's just a really nice, beautiful, more of an old school type grip. It has a 3.5 inch barrel, which it is a Lothar Walther barrel, match grade, which are some of the best barrels made. And again, these are not really cheap. I mean, the retail price on the standard K40 or K9 runs about $880. The Elite 98 is a lot of upgrades, and it goes up to $961 retail. Of course, you can find that cheaper, you know, in different sources around. And you know, it's just, again, a really high quality. I've always thought that the Kahr pistols have a really high quality reputation and finish. Here a little close-up of the trigger pull. Very consistent, very smooth, and a nice crisp snap. We'll check reset. It is a double action only, so the reset's going to be pretty far out. Now there are 3 different models in the K series. It comes in a matte stainless, it comes in a polished stainless, and it also comes in a blackened stainless. Now to disassemble the firearm, release your magazine, double check, make sure the gun's unloaded. What we want to do is bring back the slide to the point right here where this comes through. This will allow for your slide release to pop through. So while you're holding it in this position, take something to push that slide release out, and it will pop out. Now just pull the trigger and then release the slide. Here we have your recoil spring and guide rod. It is a steel guide rod, and of course the spring, where the tight coils go, it actually goes back over your guide rod. Here we have the lock breech Browning design for your barrel. Here you can see the polish on the feed ramp. I mean, it's beautiful. The barrel is kind of funny the way it fits back in. It kind of cants a little bit over to one side, and you can see that when we put it back in. Here we have the striker assembly, of course, very Glock-like and with the backslide plate. But you know, this is one design that's really proven itself. But the fit and finish, even on the inside of this pistol, is just excellent. Everything is done very well. No real tooling marks, and so that just adds to the quality of the firearm and will translate into functionality. For reassembly, place your barrel in, and you'll notice again how it's offset just a touch. I think it's kind of cool. It's a little unusual. Recoil spring guide rod. Takes a little bit of more of a trick to push that in, and then it just locks right here behind your barrel lug. Take the slide, bring it over your frame. Once you get it in a standard position, your slide, go ahead and put your slide stop in, and then we're going to have to bring it back because we want to go into the barrel lug. Bring it back to where it gets into that notch, and then just snap it into place. And we're ready to go. Now at the range, zero malfunctions. It just fed flawlessly. I was using 180 grain jacketed hollow point HPR, which is pretty, you know, full power loads. Also using some of the 40 Smith & Wesson Black Ops by HPR. Just trying out some different stuff. No malfunctions, no stovepipes. I mean, it just fed flawlessly. With the slickness of the internals, I'm not really surprised. As far as recoil goes, even though it's 40 Smith & Wesson and it's a small frame pistol, being steel, you know, it was very light recoil. Just a little more than a 9, but not bad at all. Very manageable, and rapid fire follow-up shots were not a problem. The pointability of this gun is excellent. I mean, it has a natural point of aim for me, a lot with the grip angle. So I just see that this is a great concealed carry option. It is going to be a little heavier than most, but you know, it does again add to the controllability of the firearm. And just like Jeff Cooper said, you're never outgunned if you don't miss. Now the owner and founder of Kahr Firearms is Justin Moon, which is son of the famous Sun Myung Moon, who started the Unification Church. So it's just an interesting side note, and they also own Magnum Research and Auto Ordnance. So there's a lot of expansion with this, and one of the things about Justin Moon, though, he started out with a concealed carry permit, carrying a firearm at a young age, and just got tired of not really having something, and of course this was back in the 90s, for concealed carry that was really optimal. He has 5 different patents under his name for the Kahr firearms. Seems like 9mm is continuing to grow while 40 Smith & Wesson is kind of going a little bit to the side. It doesn't mean there's not a large following of 40 Smith & Wesson. It's not going anywhere. There's so many pistols. In fact, it's one of those deals that you can get for a reasonable price, usually cheaper than you can the 9mm, especially on the used market. If you're looking for, you know, Glock 40s, even Kahr 40s, whatever, a lot of police trade-ins are going to the 40. Now, one of the things I've always said about 40 caliber, and before I ever owned a 40 caliber, was that when the first ammo shortage started back in the Clinton era, when you just couldn't find ammo, you could usually find 40 Smith & Wesson. So that is a great advantage to have a 40 Smith & Wesson handy, and if you can't get the 9 you need, typically you can find 40 caliber ammunition. And to my good friend Brian, who drives a Mustang but carries a Kahr, I can't ever tell if he's carrying a Mustang and driving a Kahr, driving a Mustang, carrying a Kahr, you know, but either way, 2 cool things. The Kahr K40 and 40 Smith & Wesson Elite 98, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. One great thing too about the pistol is there is no mag release. This particular model has, there is stainless, very reminiscent to the Browning 1911 high power, but the trigger pull, which is extremely consistent and smooth, is only about 15 pounds 14 ounces. I highly recommend that you take the Kahr for a test drive.